G'day everyone, Alex McKellar here once again with another top split racing replay this week. Red Zandvoort, of course, the shorter layout, one of the shorter configurations, the A configuration, oh no, the international configuration from memory. Round 8, Season 3, 2022, we're chasing our goals. We're up to our stretch goals at the moment because we hit the 1600 points last week, so that was good. Now we're trying to chase down that top 5. Now to do that, of course, we're still chasing points. Big field here today in terms of, or last night I should say, in terms of I rating. Everything was 4,500 and something strength of field. Manu Keta put it on pole ahead of Perez. Good steer from Manu there. Tough to get in front of Christian at any stage, even in quali. So by a tenth, no less. 121 flat. Have seen people dip into the 120s, but from memory it was a little warm. And I don't know if Christian nailed his laps either. So that's a tough front row. And then you throw in Adam in P3, who's very, very fast. Those are the three standouts in the field. Frattini, Lynn and myself, next three. Excuse me. I was disappointed with my quali. I thought I could have done better, and half a tenth to a tenth, and your race is entirely different. If you're on the front two rows, I think it's a different race to the next layer down, which is where we're at in this one. So again, I was a little disappointed in quali, but that's on me. I need to get better at that. Kuroda-san in P7. He's had some really good pace here this week in particular. He's been improving, but he's been improved a lot and had some genuine competitive pace here at Zandvoort this week. Takumi Yamato Yamato-san in P8 there off the grid. Not his usual stellar qualifying, actually. He's normally really, really good in quali. Speaks a little bit to the calibre of the field as well. Had a good race with Yamato-san earlier in the day as well. So looking forward to going against him again. Takatsuji, of course the third of Japanese drivers. This is the Japanese SkipJack strength of field race for the Japanese community. Good to see some Japanese folks mixing it up in there as well. Swarovski, head clown and chief sparring partner this season once again. Disappointed in his quality, but you look at the margin there, you're talking not even 2 tenths, 1.5 tenths, and he's in 4th off the grid. The margins were really, really tight. Sanchez, of course, big Twitch streamer. Team boss man for Team Milo, Russell Clark starting out of 12th. Just seeing, I think we had a 17 car field. Great to see Luke Whitten, the other Team Milo driver, in there as well. Nakamura in 14th. Ryan Chenoweth, the snake catcher himself, out of 15th. Suarez, who I don't know. And Taniguchi, 4th Japanese driver in the field. Anyway, 17 laps around here. Let's get ready to go. All right. And then we'll make sure we grab the right camera view, of course. Might be a bit better. And yeah, without further ado, let's get on with it. All right. So, start's all important. I was hoping to get up the inside here. I got a decent enough start. You can see I'm side by side with Lynn. And then I thought, I got checked up a little bit. See how there was a big space in front of Lynn and he could break deeper, but I had nowhere to go, unfortunately. So I was annoyed at myself hanging over from quali still, because I thought I had the edge on pace on Frattini this week, which for the first time in probably about a month. And in the previous race to this one, I'd managed to hang on to Luqueta and Perez, and we dropped Frattini. So I knew that the guys in front, not only could they drop me, but they, other than the front three, well, they could drop everyone behind them realistically, and I didn't want to be in that bucket. And I'm already seeing the gap opening. Lynn's already 4 tenths off, right? And I'm already seeing that gap starting to widen, and at this point I'm thinking, Well, we've got one corner, the braking zone into turn 1, or our race could be over. And I was a bit concerned there because Lynn sort of ran the tighter line there, didn't use all the track, and I was like, So I positioned my car off to the right there to make sure there was no threat, and I thought, here we go, into the braking zone. What do you got, mate? And then I saw that and I went, oh no. And at that point, if you can believe it, at that point, unless the front guys battle, our race is over, and we're racing for P5 at this point. So, and judging by the race before, they weren't battling up front. It was unusual because Luqueta and Perez in particular, they're not afraid to mix it up. And again, Lynn probably missed that one, but at that stage, I was frustrated. And look, can I say, I do want to give an apologies to Auntie Lynn. I might have said something on the radio like, how about you make a corner or something, brother. And, you know, he's normally really good with pace and stuff. So it was surprising. And then again, and you know, not only have we lost, and I just got frustrated, and not only have we lost the front guys, but we were just, you know, we were going to be under real threat from behind soon too, because we had a gap behind us, right? And we wanted to make sure that we got away from those guys, because he and I were essentially competing for 5th, and if we could keep ahead and just keep a gap, we would have been fine. But then, and that's why I was happy to sit behind. But then he kept making mistakes, unfortunately. And again, apologies to Unsey. I didn't swear or anything over the radio. I just said, how about you make a corner every now and then? But still, in the heat of the moment, still not the nicest thing to say. I think I might have to move my radio button again if that sort of thing continues. But it was a real expression on reflection, and again, not taking anything away from the apology, but it's a real reflection on, I guess the tension and what you put into the season. You know, like I've really focused on these big races this season and put in a lot of yards and not necessarily got as much racing as I normally enjoy. And if you pile it all into these big races and then stuff like that happens, it gets frustrating. So, you know, I don't know that I'll do this next season in terms of going for those big races, and I can see what Christian Perez meant when we've interviewed him after a race, and he says, yeah, I'm not going for the championship, it wasn't fun doing the 4 a week. And again, I got a bit frustrated. I just left Lynn through there, and then he immediately misses the corner. And at this point I said, well, if you're going to lead, how about you make a corner? I think it was actually right there after that corner. Anyway, but yeah, it's a real again, different line though there probably, because you can double apex that, to be fair. Again, it's probably a reflection on the pressure you put on yourself when you're only doing those 4 races and you're focusing on a championship and points and this, that and the other thing. And of course, iRating's always the big one in the back of your mind. But yeah, so I think next season we'll just focus on racing and having a good time. But for now, we've got to finish this one out and see where we can get. But, so, we've now got, bumped the microphone. We've now got a few people in this little train, so we're not just a dynamic duo anymore. We've got Yamato and Swarovski with us, as well as Sanchez and I think Kuroda-san as well, yeah, and Witten, and there's a long line all the way down to P12 by the looks. Long skippy train. So now the nature of our race has changed. Front 4 are gone, they're playing nice, they're just going to race the last little bit by the looks of it. Swarovski's got through, or he's defending. No, he's got through. No, he was defending against Sanchez and battling Yamato, and again Lynn misses the corner, and I wouldn't normally go through at that point under those circumstances, but I did. And interestingly, he let Yamato through as well. So I don't know if, and then he had a big brake lock up, and I was thinking, oh, there's the potential for Yamato and I to get away. And I wondered, you know, if Lynn had a lot of practice or whatever it was, because he certainly did a good job in quali. And after the race, he sent me a PM saying sorry about the rough driving at the start of the race. You know, he'd done the practice and everything. He don't know what happened. So, again, maybe it's the pressure of these big races. I know Lynn only comes out for the big ones, and he races a lot of other series. He's a good quick driver. So, you know, for whatever reason. So again, apologies, mate. I look forward to racing again next week. In the meantime, Yamato and I had a great race earlier in the day. I was confident that we could race together, and he actually sat in behind there looking for the fastest way, flag to flag, as I like to say. And there's a bit of action up front every time, and you can see there's a little bit of residual smoke. Every time I come through one of these corners and I see a bit of tyre smoke, I'd get a little bit of hope, but then I'd look back at the delta or the relative and I'd see they were still 3.5, 4 seconds up the road. And you see a little bit of inside front tyre smoke from the group in front. Every now and then I get a glimmer of hope, but realistically our battle was for P5. And at the moment that was with Yamato and Lynn. Sorosky, who was disappointed again with his quality, but the margins were so tight. He's got a battle on his hands in between Lynn and Sanchez. Sanchez, of course, big Twitch streamer, Spanish-speaking Twitch streamer. He races skips where the big softs are typically. We see him at Sunday Night Lights and what have you. He's quick, no doubt. He races a lot of different cars as well. Yamato again, happy to sit. He's very quick and he likes to move forward. Doesn't always qualify the best, but he likes to move forward as well. Makes for exciting viewing and racing as much as anything else. Now my strategy here was to just try and stay in the front one, hopefully on the front of this pack, but the first 1 or 2 spots. You get too far down in the pack, it's too hard to move forward in a pack like this where the quality's up. So realistically, the front 2 guys on a pack can sort of dominate proceedings. A bit of tyre smoke behind us, and you really want to be able to sit at the front and determine your own fate. And as I say, make your own luck. Position your car. Have choice in where you position your car to minimise your risk and maximise your potential of going fastest flag to flag. So in the race I did earlier with Yamato, it was just the 2 of us, and it was really great practice through scenarios like this. You can see I've got a 3.5 gap coming out of the final corner. For that, I'm confident he's not going to get me by the line, which is the big roll of the dice at the end. And I'm also pretty confident because of that gap, but also in Yamato as a driver, that he's not going to attack and compromise our speed overall by attacking in turn 1. When he's closer, absolutely, but not at sort of 3.5, 4 tenths on the exit of the final corner. So we did a fair few laps together earlier in the day, and both of us had a chance to do dress rehearsals of that final corner. That final corner is really where the race is often won and lost. Whether you can be in front and get the run out and hold on to the line, or whether you're close enough in the draft behind to get passed by the line. I don't know, it felt like the draft used to be more powerful and you wanted to be in P2, but now you've got to be probably within 3 tenths through the corner and with at least an equivalent exit to get it done by the line. So it's a really, it's a real 50-50 bet. And if you're behind, you've really got to back yourself to get there. Now we've opened up a bit of a gap. Sanchez and Sorosky have changed places at the expense potentially of the of this battle for 5th. So that encourages me that it might just be the 3 of us going forward. And like I said, I know I can race with Yamato, no worries. Lynn, I think as the tyres were coming up, he was finding his feet and his confidence again. So I expected him to be back into it. Honestly, I thought if he'd continued in the same vein, we might have been able to drop him just cold. And you can see the gap there is, it's about 6/10. And where pace is equivalent, 6/10 is okay to hang on. But if there's any doubt in pace, 6/10 and you're going to get dropped. So with that final corner battle, I have practiced a fair bit. Actually with Vasco on, you know, being in front and being behind. It's just so important. And then in the race with Yamato earlier in the day, did the same. We both had some dress rehearsals from coming as the second car or the first car, testing each other out without compromising our race, because we built up quite a gap. And I wasn't confident, and you see I lifted out there because Yamato got the run, and he thought start a lap 10, maybe he could have a turn on front, which I didn't mind. I didn't think having Yamato on front would compromise our pace at all. He's got good pace and a good racing brain. And then we had Swarovski and Sanchez behind, who were hopefully, for our sake, not for Vasco's sake, I always hope he does well, but I was hoping for the context of my own race that they might hold each other up, and because I figured that either one of them actually could catch us up okay. So, but if they sort of played with each other rather than us, we might have a better chance. So like I said, we'd done our dress rehearsals. I wasn't comfortable that I could consistently get off the final corner, get into and get out of the final corner, and win a draft race from being in the second position. I could do it every now and then, but I didn't even think it was a 50-50 bet for me. I felt it was more of a, you know, 60-40, 70-30 wrong way. But I did feel it was more of a 50-50, that when I had a clear run at the corner, I could stay ahead. You are risking a bit that the driver behind can do it better, but I felt it was, as far as putting things in my own hands and in my own control, it was better for me to be in front for you know, my skills at this track. They weren't up to scratch coming from the behind position, but they were okay, or better at least, coming from the lead position. So that was my plan, was to, at this stage, perhaps give Yamato a couple of laps on front, or at least 3 laps to go, look to move forward, if not before, depending on what our runs look like out of the respective corners. Lynn has found his pace and found his legs, so he's not going anywhere, which is good. And Vasco Swarovski in P8, he's cleared out from Sanchez. He's got himself a bit of a gap, and he's got the red mist pace on. He's got the bit between the teeth and trying to run us down. So again, no threat. I moved a little bit to the right there to show Yamato was no threat, but also to dissuade Lynn from having a look. And you can see, yeah, he's right back on it. No missing apexes now. Tyres are up. His confidence is back, and he's back into the race. So again, we got we're on lap 12, 5.5 to go. This unique hairpin. I never used to like Zandvoort that much, but over the last couple of seasons, I've come to actually enjoy the character of the track and the racing it provides. I think whilst this international layout cuts back, and that hairpin is a challenge each and every time. No really good references. You struggle to find a line where you can get the braking zone so your car's running straight. You've got to be able to trail brake in and manage the... Anyway, look, it's quite a unique kind of layout and quite a unique hairpin. I've come to enjoy the racing here. Not sure why Yamato pulled short there. Maybe he wanted to go straight defensive, but then he lifts out and he gives me the run. And because I did have the run out of that final corner. So on lap 13, and I'm thinking any time from here, I am going to defend. I want to be on front. As I said, that's my strategy. It's amazing. And I was sitting in this, and every now and then you get a glimpse of the guys up front. Any race other than these big soft races, this is a race for the lead. And I was treating it like a race for the lead, you know, because the actual lead, the front four were gone. And this is, you know, one of the stories of the race. This is our story of our race, you know, and this is for the win in our story. And we can't be right up the front for the actual win. And in fact, Manu's got a gap. He's gone. Some ducks and drakes for the other three, Perez, Miles and Frattini, have cost them any chance of the win. Perez is the only one who could bridge that gap in that group, in my opinion. But Lucchetta's got the pace to give him real trouble with that, if at all, if it's possible at all. So I moved straight to the right, saying, no, I'm defending from here on out with 4 laps to go. Almost let him through there, and I thought, no, I'm going to stay in it. So this is a really good sequence of corners. Oh no, I take it back, pulled out. We'll talk about that sequence of corners later, maybe. It is, this first couple of sectors though is a lot of fun with the right people to go side by side. I'm thinking of doing a little series about racing and strategy and how to, you know, different tracks and their characteristics or their trademark corners and sequences and what have you, and how you race them, and maybe, you know, hopefully prompt some discussion and thought on how to approach the racing at circuits in the skips in particular. I was looking at one for Knock Hill. There was a good race we did there and some interesting things to talk about there, but also after this week, that opening sequence of corners in the first couple of sectors, yeah, there's a lot to think about there. All right, so 3 laps to go, and I didn't get the run there. So despite how I thought I raced this, not quite as I remembered it. I was, in my mind, I remember at the time thinking I've got to get in front with a couple to go. So at this point in the race, there's a sense of urgency because I want to be in front. Because I'm not massively confident that I can get Yamato by the line if I'm in second. So I close up deep under brakes there. I do remember that. Yeah, now it's coming back. Take quite a shallow line through there, more so. Others seem to be able to get the turn in later. It's not something I've got a handle on yet. You can see Vasco in P8, he's still a second off, but he's getting a whiff of draft at this point. So I'm inside 3/10 coming out of the final corner. Decent enough run, but you can see the draft does kick in, but see how I don't get him by the line, which is there. That's why I want to be in front. I find it too hard to cite references on the entry of the final corners. So this is the sequence we were talking about. I was a lap early. Staying in it here, you've got the inside to 3. You come down to 4, you're on the outside. Go very deep around the outside. Use the camber to your effect. Stay in it so that he thinks he's got you, but he never gets quite clear. And then look at this. You got the inside into the hairpin, and there is no going around the outside in this one. I don't care how deep you brake. The car just bogs down and you don't have the drive around the corner. Interestingly, Lynn didn't push the point. He could have had the inside run into the chicane potentially. And this is what we were looking for. This is the sequence I remember. I just went a lap early. All right, so we're coming up to the white flag. We're in the position we want to be. We just need a big run through here. And then you can see that that run through the first sector has brought Swarovski right back into it. He's right on the back of this with a lap to go. Now I'm going to move straight over to the right. Run that white line. As soon as I see Yamato move, I'm going to move and open up, leave him a lane at least on the outside, and then we're going to do the dance again. Side by side, I got a better run that time. He wasn't as far up, so I was feeling a bit more confident. I dropped down the extra gear into second, and then down into first. Normally I take that previous right-hander in third, but side by side I want to take it in second and get on the gas a lot earlier. We've got even better drive there. We're almost clear into the braking zone. I'm confident by this stage that we've got that position, and now what we're setting up for is a blown engine in front of us apparently, but what we're setting up for really is the run through the final couple of technical sections here. So the run out of here is crucial. The entry and the exit out of the chicane is absolutely crucial. Yamato's nice and tight at 3/10. I'm concerned that he's within 3/10 here. He's got an absolute shot at it. And at the moment, the wild card is the steaming Perez coming back at us. Yamato's right in this. I'm going to go right if I can. Christian does the right thing, holds his line. We're coming in full at a gate. It's so close. It's so close. And we got it. We got it. I was pretty pumped. We got a freebie at the end at the expense of poor Christian. And P4. So realistically, we kind of did the best we could in with the cards that we were dealt there. I felt I was pretty happy in terms of how we put that together in terms of strategy with what we had. I was really disappointed I wasn't in the front pack. But to be honest with you, I don't have the pace of the likes of Lucetta and Perez in particular. I would have maybe held the draft, maybe at best. But realistically, there's every chance it would have been P4 anyway. If Perez blows his engine, I'm on the back of that pack. You know, it's P4 at best kind of thing. So can't really complain about that. Yeah, pretty happy with it. So looking at the results then, Lucetta, surprising, not a surprising winner, but the margin. Again, perhaps there's another story in that front pack where the battling allowed him to get a bit of a gap, and he's got really solid pace. So he's, yeah, very hard to run down and a deserving winner. Good to see Adam Miles getting some good points in second. Frattini, he's done well. I didn't think he was as quick here as he was at other places this season, so he's manufactured a good result out of that. And sometimes, you know, just being in and around it, you get that. And that's kind of what I was hoping to do, be in and around it. Anyway, then I was pretty pleased with the P4. And a good couple of sparring partners there in Yamato and Swarovski. Of course, I spent a lot of time with Vasco where we're getting ready for these races, and Yamato I had a good 2 or 3 races with this week, and enjoyed every one of them. Again, apologies to Lynn. You won't see Lynn. I know he's a top quality driver, and we all have those nights. And again, I need to move that push to talk button, I think. Christian Perez unlucky in 8th, although still dominating everything. I haven't had a look at how he blew his engine. I'm going to have a look at it at some stage. Luke Whitten, P9. Good to see Luke back into it, and a fairly good result there inside the top 10. Xavier Sanchez, Kuroda, Takatsuji Clark, the snake catcher in 14th. Nakamura, Taniguchi, and Suarez. There's your field, right? So, in terms of what that looks like for our season, So we ended up with 207 points out of that one, which, you know, was just the icing on the cake. So another 200-point week, which I'm really stoked about. So that puts us in terms of the championship overall. Farinas has come back into it, of course, now that he's got 8 weeks. Although Perez really without, you know, going for it. And he's racing. Look, he's done 94 races. And when you look at the point scoring system, to be out in front by the margin that he is, by nearly 100 points, and he's done, you know, 3 times the races, you can see the people that are actually playing the numbers, you know, in Farinas, myself and Swarovski. He's done 3 times the races, and therefore, yeah, anyway, most of you know how the point system works, and all that does is just cement the sentiments around how quick Perez is. Now, we're sitting in P3. There's 3 weeks to go. Drop rounds and everything come into play. My chief kind of rivals, I guess, in this quest to be in the top 5 are pretty much directly behind us, because Lucetta, as we saw, can win these big ones. He's down in 6th at the moment, but he's only got 6 rounds. 2 more rounds at a sort of 200, anything up to 250 a pop, and he's in there competing with Christian Perez in P1. So I think the season's probably between those two, depending on if Manu turns up. I think he's got another special event coming up, so we may not see him. Adam Miles, if he can get some luck and some good results on the back of it, as we saw again tonight, finishing 2nd, he'll probably move up with drop rounds. And that leaves Vasco and I really fighting over P5 is kind of how I'm seeing it going. Vasco got 175, I think, for that race that we just did. So it has the potential to drop it. That takes out of play. He's 115 though. So it does get a little bit harder for him. And yeah, look, it's going to be tight. It's going to be a tight finish. So we've met our 1,600 point goal. We're now our stretch goal of being in the top 5 is what remains. So yeah, it's all to play for. All right, folks. We're off to NERB next week. Thank you for joining us again. Yeah, looking forward to rounding out the season. Make sure you go check us out on the different places around, and, you know, join us in the weeks to come. Thank you again. It is great having everyone here when you do come. There's been a good amount of folks checking them out, and I do appreciate it. Otherwise, check us out Top Split TV on Twitch. Sunday Night Lights coming up each and every Sunday night, 9:15 p.m, 9:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Time, which is what's that, GMT plus 10 at the moment. Anyway, before I lose my train of thought any further, I will say goodbye. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm Alex McKellar, and until next time, I will say ciao for now.